Hey everybody, this is Prince's Friend, and we're back on Prince's Friend's YouTube channel. Was gone for a little bit. Now it's back, but we're good to go now, and we're ready to move on with some awesome reviews for you guys. I can't wait to get into this one. The next album is actually 1999, which was released in October of 1982. It's weird because while I've been doing the research and kind of getting, kind of really digging into this album, I'm realizing why, to me, as somebody who got into Prince much later on, it's a good album. Honestly, it's a great album. But it didn't have the cultural impact on me getting into Prince in 1989 versus the cultural impact that 1999 had at the time in 1982 when it came out. So let's just jump right into it. It's Prince's fifth album, so that's pretty awesome. He's already got a good track record, 5 albums in 5 years. And basically during the Controversy tour, they sold lots and lots and lots of tickets, so it pretty much taught us that enraging people on your album directly correlates to ticket sales. During this time also, he had created Vanity 6. He wrote their debut album basically at the same time that he was doing 1999. Funny thing about that, he was gonna call the group the Hookers. and then he decided to go with Vanity 6. So I thought that was a hilarious little note. Not that that has anything really to do with 1999, but moving on. He was also producing the Time's second album, What Time Is It, at the same time. So again, I thought he was prolific while he was making Controversy, but he was even more prolific during the 1999. So after a bit of soul searching and really trying to find a really good direction to go in on Dirty Mind and Controversy, obviously differing a lot from For You and Prince. I think that's where we kind of ended up going in the 1999 direction. Drummer Bobby Z is actually quoted as saying, he knew it was back to dance. There was some weird stuff, but it was still very funky, and he found his groove, and the groove never left. So when I say that he was being prolific, productive, he was so productive that he was able to put out his first double album, and it's basically 11 tracks on 2 records. A lot of the tracks are a lot longer. He was able to get more out of them, and I think it's really, really awesome. During 1982, Prince was named the Rock Artist of the Year in Rolling Stones right after its release, and some might argue that 1999 is a safer album than Dirty Mind or Controversy, but really it was a smart move for him because it really kind of opened up his audience a little bit more. He was able to kind of go with more metaphor, and in some cases, but basically trying to hide the sex in a very kind of appropriate seeming album. And it's pretty cool because 1999 went gold in just 3 months and sold over 1 million by the end of 1983. So it got really, really big. Funny note though, in the UK, the distribution company WEA was too scared to release Prince's unique sexualized music, obviously after seeing everything that had come before it. And instead, they released 1999 without D.M.S.R, Automatic, All the Critics Love You in New York, and International Lover. I can't even imagine the album without those tracks. It's a completely different album. But let's dive in and let's go track per track. So we all know that 1999, it's the title track, and it's a song about the end of the world coming early. In the year 2000, that's when the world's supposed to end, but we're surrounded with so much chaos. It's coming now, and we basically just need to party like it's 1999. Keep in mind, too, that as of 1982, there is still a Cold War, so the line, "Mommy, why does everybody have a bomb?" really has significance here. It was really real for the people back then. Of course, I was 3 years old, but so I didn't feel it, but I mean, it was a real thing. Also, the interesting thing with the opening, the "Don't worry," the slowed down kind of opening, it kind of made it sound like it was almost like an alien or something. But what I actually think is that it was Prince. I always think that there's a purpose for everything that Prince does. I think it was Prince talking to the audience. He's saying, hey, remember all that, overt sex stuff that I did? Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you. Let's just have some fun. The vocals of the track itself are split between Prince, Lisa Coleman, and Des Dickerson. Rumors say that the original version had actually all three harmonizing on every line, and then that Prince later went in and removed voices so that each one of them had their own distinct lines. I'd actually be interested to hear what that version of it sounded like. I trust Prince and that he felt that it was probably a better direction to go in, but I'd be interested to hear it. I think it might be fun. In the end, you do get a funky opening track. I think it really establishes what the feel of the album's going to be like, and it drops the beat that is expertly picked up by Little Red Corvette.
Guess I should know by the way you parked your car sideways at a wooden last. You're the kind of person that believes in making out once, love them and leave them fast.
Little Red Corvette. Prince said that he wrote this song in the back of an Edsel, so it takes the familiar car sex metaphor that America is very familiar with. The fun thing is that it kind of turns it on its head. Instead of the car being the sexual metaphor for a man's sex drive, it actually is a woman this time, and it's the woman that's on overdrive, and she's on the prowl for a man, and Prince just happens to be the man that is the lucky man tonight. Prince was actually able to take one of his sexiest songs, though, and dress it up in a car metaphor, but honestly, analyzing some of the lines, I can't believe that got released. I heard the line about the pocket full of horses. Like, I didn't get that when I was a kid. I was thinking, okay, so horsepower, because it's all car stuff, right? And it's like, no, he's talking about Trojans, dude. She's got used condoms in her pocket. Like, what is up with that? Little Red Corvette has more significance than just being one of his most popular songs. So Little Red Corvette was the second single that was released the month after 1999 hit gold. And it was during epic ticket sales because the album was so popular. And it was an instant hit. It hit number 6 on the pop charts. From that point on, his audience at concerts changed from being like 90% black to being mostly split right down the middle, whites and blacks. This was also a time when Michael Jackson's Billie Jean broke MTV's no black videos rule that they had, which meant literally Little Red Corvette and some 1999, the video for 1999, but Little Red Corvette, the video for that, was the thing. It was the first thing that a lot of fans of Prince got to actually see, like, ever. And it's one of those really interesting cultural moments that I missed out on because I was 3. Seriously, like, it's crazy just how much significance Little Red Corvette has to so many people. Like, I've been an adult in my life dumbfounded by why everybody loves this song so much. Not that it's not a good song, but I have so many other Prince songs that I'm like, I like that one way better. It was not only significant for Prince, it was significant for kind of America. Like, it was really kind of the start of a lot of great things that were to come, and it's kind of mind-boggling. So on paper, Delirious seems like one of those songs that just kind of shouldn't work. It's got a stuttering beat. It's got like wacky organ sound in it, and it continues on with the car imagery of like wheels, brakes, race, steer, all the same stuff. And it continues the theme of the woman being in control, and you'll see that actually becomes a theme kind of this whole album, which is kind of interesting. But in this case, just being around this girl has Prince kind of going crazy. It struck a chord with the majority of the audience that was listening to his stuff. It was the third single off of 1999. It reached number 8 on the pop charts, probably again kind of bouncing off of the success of Little Red Corvette as well. Made it his second chart topper of his career, really. Horny Toad was its B-side, which is a really awesome song as well, and it also starts the trend that now he actually starts writing more B-sides and releasing those specifically as B-sides and not just another track off the album as the B-side. So my personal take on this track is that it's a genius track. So continuing the grinding thump of the album, Let's Pretend We're Married takes Prince, who has been now dumped, and says, basically, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And of course, Prince has had like a long fixation, and even back then, of having this fixation of marriage being the key to basically just having the purest, most awesome sex. So the idea of pretending we're married with a random person seems kind of fitting for him. The line, "Excuse me, but I need a mouth like yours," followed by "I sincerely want to fuck the taste out of your mouth," is just amazing, by the way. And all the hippies sing together, seems like calling to all the other swingers out there who kind of want to join in, and it's just like, look, it's okay. Just sex. Let's just do some sex. I think that again, this song was used kind of to talk to. So the song is about sex, which is great. And then he turns it around and starts saying, "Whatever you heard about me, it's true. I change the rules and do what I want to do." And again, it's like, it's really just him saying, look, we're human. We're not here to judge each other. I'm doing what I want to do, and you should come along. And if you want to fight, then there's the door. So this song was actually sung by Tina Turner, and there's actually a live performance of it, which I think she did a great job with it too. I'm going to put a link to that in the comments so all of you can go listen. The B-side for Let's Pretend We're Married was actually Irresistible Bitch, so there's like no end to the awesomeness of the song. So DMSR stands for Dance, Music, Sex, Romance. Prince reminds us several times throughout the song. It's the 4 most important things to Prince at the time. I think probably if he had a 5th one, he would add it D.M.S.R for spirituality. It's pretty light lyrically, besides the few verses to kind of enforce the credo. It's a good, like really good funky song, full of danceability. It's kind of a party anthem, which is great. And it's, gets the crowd chanting. He even calls out, all the different types of people that he wants to get on the floor and dance, all the white people, all the black people, all the Puerto Ricans, all the Japanese people, just really like, this is for everybody. This isn't just for a select few. Everybody needs to join in. So I remember buying this album and playing this track, and the one before it, Let's Pretend We're Married, just over and over and over again. It has such a groove to it that you just can't help but just go back for seconds, go back for thirds and more. It was also where I started to notice that Prince was highlighting his screams. Yes, he had a few screams on some of the earlier albums, but they were very sporadic. And I think 1999 was where he actually started to use his screams in a more pronounced way, and they start to take center stage on a lot of these songs. Automatic. The tale of a boy infatuated with a girl so much that he'll literally do anything she says. It's automatic and he just can't stop himself, to the point that he's begging for mercy. It's actually sung with a bit of anger in it, which I really like. it keys in on the theme that he feels like he's a slave and he wishes he didn't have to do everything that she says. It actually makes it a sadder song if you kind of take it in that context as well. There's a long instrumental outro which feels like he's at odds with himself. So it's tormenting and dreamlike 1 minute, with the wails of kind of wanting to be set free, which some people hear that and they think that those are the sounds of sex, but I don't know. For me, it seems worse. It seems like bad stuff. It seems like really we're being tortured here. But then there's some of the lyrics that sound like he's begging for her to not let him go, because what would he do? Like, what would he do if he didn't have her to tell him what to do? It's a really kind of destructive song if you think about it. Apparently there was a video that went with this song that included BDSM style whipping and whatnot. If anybody knows where I can watch that video, I need to see that, because it's one of my favorite songs of all time of Prince's, and mostly because of that really interesting beat. Like, I really like the beat that goes along with it. So I'd love to see it acted out, so hit me up. So the next track is Something in the Water Does Not Compute. This song is probably one of the most desperate songs that Prince has ever had. And that's saying a lot coming off of Automatic as well. It's a song about love lost, but not because he did anything. It's in the water. He's looking for some external reason because he's been a slave and he's been crazy, and it's only natural for him to believe that it has nothing to do with himself. He's got great legs. People think he's smart. He spends all his money on her, so what went wrong? It can't be anything about him. It's another track that really feels like Prince is out of control and the woman is the one controlling him. And again, like I said, it would become a trend on the album. At the end, he's confessing his love to the one who's hurt him so bad, and it sounds sincere and it sounds sad. Strangely, it's another one of my all-time favorite tracks. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Mostly I love the computer sound effects in the beat, and how it like meshes really well with that kind of fast beat there. So I really, really enjoy that. Even though the song is mostly mid-tempo, there's just a lot of things that just fit together so well and really make this song awesome.
Be glad that you are free, free to change your mind, free to go more.
So Free starts off with the sound of footsteps marching in the snow, and evoking the imagery, basically, of Russia. It's the sound of oppression, and it's the sound of our enemy. Again, the Cold War was in full effect in 1982. The song is the opposite of that, though. Like, we're American, be happy that we're free. Freer than a lot of other countries. And this rings true even today. I mean, there are a lot of really cool countries out there, but even with the problems that America has, we're still pretty cool. It also is the return of Prince's falsetto in this song, which was interesting because it made it evident of how much he had not sung with his falsetto on this album. It's kind of a rock anthem, and he brings in some screams at the end for emphasis right before the track kind of grows softer. I kind of always took that as like the boots were coming to take the freedom away, and the song is like, hey, be proud of what you have, don't take your freedom for granted. And it's almost like the screams at the end were kind of his protest to them being taken away, but was unsuccessful. And then at the end, it just kind of sounds really sad. That could just be me looking way too deep into it, but that's the way that I've always interpreted it. This track started the fourth and final side of the vinyl release. So this is the last 3 tracks of the album. It's got kind of a perky, kind of funky beat. And basically he gets in the cab and asks a girl to take him places. He could be talking about actually a taxi driver who he then in the end has sex with. But I've always taken it as a metaphor, obviously, that she's been around town and just knows just where to go, like a taxi driver. The song also takes Prince and puts him back in the driver's seat at the end, as he takes out all of his aggression on this girl with every thrust, and beautiful sounds being made in the background. It's actually Jill Jones who does the vocals of the woman, and there are actually rumors that the recordings were from an actual lovemaking session between the two of them. I don't know how true that is. I'm just saying it's a rumor. There's a pretty cool like keyboard guitar battle during the long intro that I love. So it just, like, there's a lot of really good things going on Lady Cab Driver. I think it was risky back then with the simulated sex not really being something that a lot of people were expecting on an album. But I like this track because it's like the character who's been so downtrodden and desperate the whole album, he's kind of reborn here, and he's off to find new adventure.
You can dance if you want to. All the critics love you in New York.
And so the Lady Cab Driver drops Prince off in New York. It's a song about kind of how cool New Yorkers are, because everyone's a critic there. You can dance if you want to is one of the lines that's repeated throughout the song, and it's almost like it's a challenge to listen and resist. Like, this song's good. You're gonna want to dance to it, but obviously, if you're a critic, then you might need to hold that back. Basically saying that a New Yorker would only dance if he wanted to. You can wear what you want to, play what you want, and everything. It's definitely something that he took to heart when he was releasing 1999, and it's kind of a collection of kind of crazy and jarring, shocking tracks on this album to his audience. And also we get the real message of this song eventually, that hippies need to take a bath. like, I don't know. He really liked referencing hippies, like, seriously. Musically, it's another track that is light on the lyrics. It has a simple groove that carries the track from beginning to end. There's some interesting guitar play in the song, too, but it's underemphasized. I think that was the point, though. Prince could release this track, which is not a bad track, but definitely not his best track, and it was still okay, because all the critics loved him in New York.
International lover. Yeah, that's right.
So the last track is International Lover, and interestingly enough, I think it's the first song that actually sounds like a throwback to his earlier albums. Like, it sounds like it could have been lifted right off of Prince, but was removed because it was too risque and then was put on 1999. That's how it feels to me. It kind of follows in the tradition of Do Me Baby, where the song is sung directly to the subject, and it loses the car metaphor and replaces it with a plane. So, kind of like, we've been all over the road, and you drove me everywhere, and now it's time to see where the skies take us. And it's a beautiful song. Like, he has all of his best plane puns in it, and it's a fitting ending to the album, I think. I love the pauses that the lyrics take, makes every line a lot more impactful. The puns are hilarious. I think for Prince to not end on a super sexy song would have seemed off on this album, just because of the direction it was going. It felt like it was a lot about sexual awakening in a person, and not even in the case of just the person on the album who went through hell and it was finally free. I think it actually had a lot to do with the sexual revolution and everything that was kind of going on in the early 80s anyway. So in conclusion, 1999 is awesome. First off, it's a longer album filled with more diverse tracks. Up until now, I think most of the albums have felt kind of the same throughout, but 1999 was, I think it beat that trend, and not in the same way that Controversy did, where it was like kind of weird and jolty. I think it was more organic feeling on this album. If I were to give it a rating, I would give it 5 out of 5, hands down. Like, this is just an amazing album, and again, it had so much not only significance for his career, but also for the world, honestly, and introducing Prince to everyone. Even though he had been around already for years, this was the real introduction to not just the people who had been following his career. It was to more the mainstream and more to everyone. So what did you think of 1999? Do you have a favorite track? Did I miss anything? Tell me in the comments, and let's go ahead and keep the discussion going about Prince's 1999. If you like this review, and you like hitting buttons and subscribing to things, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to help support the channel more, you can go hit up our Patreon, and may you live to see the dawn.